Hi, here's another activity that we did today when we were working in Miss Grace's online class. We worked today on pouring water. I have here a measuring cup that has some water in it. What I decided to use on my table, it's hard because I don't have good technology to show you, but I've got this on my table is a lid off of a plastic bin. If I was worried about my child spilling the water, I could do something like this or a cookie tray or something like that that has an edge on it to keep the water contained. We use like lunchroom trays at school. But if you're working somewhere where you don't mind them spilling, like outside on a porch or something like that, then they could do that as well. So I have this cup of water and I have two smaller containers. For the younger children, I would use something larger than that. I'm going to try to see. There we go. If I angle it, you're going to be able to better see what I'm doing here. So I've got my two containers, the one that contains the sponge, which I'm going to take out for now, and then the empty one. I'm going to pour some water, and the children love to pour, so just pour some water into the container. Then I'm going to use my sponge to move the water from this container to this container. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to put the sponge in and let it soak up real good. And again, I'm on my plastic tray, so I don't really care if it gets on my table. And I'm going to let them use their hands and squeeze the sponge as tight as they can to get as much water out. Now, a lot of times they'll barely squeeze. They won't really squeeze enough. They need to learn to squeeze enough, and that's going to strengthen their hand muscles and work two hands together, which we like our two hands to work together. So I'm going to continue to do that by moving the water from the left one, that's right on your screen, over here, and I'm squeezing really tight. If you don't have a sponge, you could use a washcloth or any other cloth that's nice and absorbent to try it with. So that's two squeezes I was able to get it in. Let's see how many squeezes it takes for me to empty that side. Okay, so this side is empty. So I was able to get all of the water from that side to that side using the sponge to work on hand strengthening. Now, children really love to pour. So I'm going to pour my water back in here to show you another activity that we often do at school with pouring. I'm just taking two things I found in my recycle bin. This is a tea, and it has kind of a wide top. You could use any kind of container. I wouldn't use glass, but any kind of container. This has a wide top. Let me go up a little higher so you'll be able to see the whole thing. And then here's another one. This is a water bottle, and it has a narrow top. So a lot of times we'll have the kids pour, and they could pour from here into here, like this. But then the kids often like to pour from one to the other. Now, it's easier to pour from a small top into a big top, but I poured it into the big top. So now I'm going to have to carefully pour. And again, I'm using two hands, and I'm carefully pouring to pour the water into the small mouth lid. So you can see that the small mouth one. And then go back and forth. They can pour back and forth. The kids absolutely love this activity. It's one of their very favorites, and it's a very easy one to do at home using any kind of like recyclable container, or you could use cups, plastic cups, but it's going to be more challenging if the lids are a little narrower like this. So give that a try and see what you think about squeezing water from one container to the next or pouring water from one container to the next. All right, hope you have a great week. See you next week.